back to work this week for Nebraska as they get ready for a night game in Madison, Wisconsin. Hi, Sean Callahan with HuskerOnline.com. We caught up with head coach Matt Rhule here at his Monday press conference. A lot of questions, first and foremost, starting with the quarterback position.
Quarterback-wise, Heinrich has a pretty good ankle sprain, so we'll see if he can do anything tomorrow. Chubba came out of the game a little bit banged up. Hasn't played much, so he's a little bit banged up from, getting hit. Jeff healthy, so we'll go through the week and probably come all the way up to game time in terms of who will play. So obviously each guy brings a little bit something different to the table, so we'll have sort of a pretty diverse plan and see who's able to go. But I won't be able to comment on Heinrich till after I see him tomorrow if he can do anything at all.
A challenge now for Matt Rhule as he looks at his football team and his quarterback position is just the mental side. How do you get these guys up for it mentally after some of the struggles we've seen?
I think the thing that you always try to get guys to do, and again, I show them lots of different things. I talk a lot about basketball, and I talk a lot about last week we showed them Kobe talking about as a rookie, shooting 5 air balls in the finals, Game 7, and then coming back the next year and making those shots. And I think the biggest thing is, when you're a basketball player, when you're Michael Jordan, when you're LeBron James, that's about the end of my extent of who's a great basketball player nowadays, but you don't go to take the last shot and think about how you're going to shoot. You just shoot the way you shot 1,000 times. And to me, that's trusting your training, and that's really our process. Our process is practicing so much and working so much that we can trust our training. And so as you get late in the Big Ten year and you go through the Big Ten for the first time and you start to experience these teams and things that they're doing, trusting the training that we're going to have, whether it's a read, whether it's a decision. So you look at 2 of the interceptions, 2 of them are backing up and just kind of throwing it. Another one's just, throwing it, to a spot, hoping that it's going to be completed. And those things just can't happen. But in terms of for the players, my job is to help them become great players. It's not, hey, don't throw interceptions. Is this what you're trained to do? You've worked your whole life to get to this point. What should you do in this moment? Hey, it's not there. I should reverse out. I should go make a play. We want our guys to play free.
On a positive note, Matt Rhule did say there were a lot of things they can take out of that game against Maryland, particularly with how the defense played and how the offensive line played.
I thought defensively, and I thought many players on offense, that was by far our best game. I thought our offensive line, it was by far the best game on offense. And so I was proud of the guys, and I told them that. We never accept losing, obviously. But, to me, the process that we're trying to put in place is working for a lot of guys. And so the lessons for our team is, hey, you're probably not going to have 5 turnovers and win very many games, especially in the Big Ten. But to have 5 turnovers and lose by 3 says a lot. Just to have that game be close versus a talented Maryland team. We want to have fourth quarter shutouts. We can't give them the ball at the 25-yard line no matter how they got it and have a penalty and have a missed assignment that leads to a field goal. So there's a lot of lessons to be learned, but I was proud of the guys, and I'm excited to take them out there this week. They continue to fight each and every week, and more importantly, they get better. And so I'm proud of where we're headed.
And of those 3 quarterbacks that are potentially available this week for Nebraska, Jeff Sims is the only one that is healthy. He's had the most turnover issues, and Rhule was asked, do they see these types of issues from Sims in practice?
I would say that we just in general, because I don't want to start talking about one guy. I would just say we don't throw these interceptions like this in practice the way we do in games, and again, sometimes I think when you run the ball a lot, when you finally have a chance to throw, you're, maybe a little, you're not kind of maybe as in rhythm. And so, we certainly came out wanting to throw the ball a little bit more last game because we knew how they would play. And unfortunately, you throw the early, we hit him with a man beater, and we overthrow Emmett. That's going to be a big play. The one they threw the penalty on Billy, then pulled it off, and then we have Fedoni on the over-out. If you see that play, Billy's running down the middle of the field wide open. So there's just a lot of things, a lot of different pictures for the guys. It's not a super complex offense. It's just a lot of different pictures that guys aren't maybe seeing. But yeah, we certainly don't have those interceptions in practice the way we do in the games. I think sometimes in the games it's just a little bit of, like I said, there's a little bit of pressure in our face. We're not sure where to go, and we kind of back up and throw it. And I just don't ever want a quarterback to not throw the ball intentionally. I'd rather our quarterbacks reverse out and go scramble and make a play. We got dynamic quarterbacks who can run. And if you're playing man coverage against us, man, our quarterback should be running for 200 yards against them. So, but again, those things aren't happening. You always go back, you look at practice, what can we do better? And we'll continue to do that this week.
What about offensive coordinator Marcus Satterfield? How much of some of the issues that we've seen, not only with the quarterback development, but the turnovers on offense, how much of that falls on the coach?
Yeah, I think that's part of the fans should do that. I have no problem with that. Fans should be critical of me. Fans should be critical of Sat. Fans should be critical. Like, you come to the game and you sit there and you're like, okay. And for me to start, we got this many guys. That's not who I am, right? I think, okay, and I would say even within the coaching community, when people play us and they talk to us afterwards, I think in year one, with as many injuries as we've had and different things that have happened, we've never made an excuse. We've always showed up each week and we battle and we're in every game and we have a chance to be in every game. I think our guys are fighting their tails off. And, I never talk about changing a culture, but I do believe in instilling a culture. When you want to instill a mindset and a culture and a process, I think all of that's happening. And I think if people can't feel that, then but if you say to yourself, like, hey, is this heading in the right direction? And, I got a true freshman, Jalen Lloyd, catching balls behind his hip. It's just going to continue to get better and better and better. So the answer in life sometimes is always just to change everything, right? Players want to transfer. Everybody wants their head coach to fire everybody. Like, has that worked out here? Where's that worked out? We're just firing assistant coaches and coordinators. So we want the whole offense to start over again with a whole new language next year. Like, I'm not doing that. It's ridiculous. So we're gonna just be exactly who I said we were going to be. We're going to be a day-by-day organization that gets better and better and better. We're going to get through year one. Okay, most of our guys on offense are coming back. We'll get better and better and better. And then, some of you guys that you're on the field before the game, you usually see me walking around the field. And a lot of times I walk with players. A lot of times I walk with hurt players, right? And I'm walking with like Ramir and Deshaun, and I'm like, Hey Gabe Irvin, just imagine you at 240 pounds coming down the stretch here in November next year. Marcus is fighting and scratching and punching and willing to get this thing as good as we can get it. That's what all the guys are doing.
And finally, Nebraska will go to Madison for a night game. The Badgers are struggling as well right now. They've lost 3 of their last 4 games under first-year head coach Luke Fickell.
Wow, they're a really good football team with really good players. Big, physical, raw, athletic, explosive. Luke Fickell's an excellent football coach. I don't know him great, but I know him well enough. We never really crossed paths I had left the American, but we've become friendly over time. Tanner Mordecai, I was probably his first offer. He was right down the street at Midway High School in Texas. He lived in the same, 2 developments over from me. When I was the head coach at Baylor, I could never convince him to come play for us. Josh Martin, who's on our staff, was with him at SMU. Tanner's a winner. Think about what we're talking about at quarterback. They have a 6-year. He's a 6-year quarterback. Think about how much football he's played. So, I'm familiar with Coach Longo's system because I was, in the draft process with Sam Howell, with all the running backs, with all the wideouts. So just watching that offense, how dynamic and explosive it can be. Being at media day, seeing Braylon, how big he is at running back. It's going to be a heck of a game. Up in Madison, I went there one time as a player, and never been there as a coach. Cold, national TV, jump around, unbelievable experience. Coach Alvarez, it should be awesome. And so I'm excited about it. But they're an excellent football team, and it'll probably be a lot like these other games. Man, we'll come down the fourth quarter. We'll try to make one more play than them. They'll try to make one more play than us, and then we'll see who does it.
As for this matchup, Nebraska has not won against the Badgers since 2012. They've never won in Madison.
Yeah, honestly, I honestly don't think about any of those things. Maybe once I'm here, let's say after we go through this year, I'll always address the previous year's games. But none of that, before I wasn't here, so it's hard for me to address those things. I can tell when I talk to our players, there's certain games, they've played against year after year, where sometimes, you play Maryland, it's the 3rd time playing them. But I think with us, just think about all the conversations we've had so far today, all the issues we have, good and bad, are all to do with us and to do with the way that we play. So that's really how I try to spend my time. But I do think it's great. This is an iconic place, college football. It's an iconic opportunity to be on NBC. It's NBC, right? Have I said that? Yeah. And I don't really care too much about those things. Other than I care about how we play, but I just do think it is a cool opportunity, and I'd love to see our guys go play well, and we'll work our way to get ourselves there.
With the Huskers here in Lincoln, I'm Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline.com.